All right, good morning, everybody. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss, Fantasy Football Live. It is Saturday morning, December 16th, 2024. 2023, Jesus, 2023. Let's not rush it. Really, really busy week this week. Obviously, we had the Thursday night horror show. That was the Raiders annihilating the Los Angeles Chargers and ushering out Brandon Staley out the door mercifully. Today, we have three games that we're going to preview. And then tomorrow, of course, we have the usual Sunday slate. So you're probably wondering why I'm streaming today and not yesterday when I said I wasn't going to stream this weekend. Well, uh, long story short, we're not. The original plan was that we were going to be going to North Carolina for a few days, and that is not happening now. So of course, anybody that has kids knows. Usually illnesses pop up this time of the year, and both my kids got sick. No COVID, no flu or anything like that, but they just, both under the weather. So we decided to cancel the trip. So I'm here right now. I will be here tomorrow. Standard operating procedure. We have a lot to go over today. I'm going to go over the injury report again. What do we do with Austin Ekeler next week? And, like I said, I put that poll up. Still early in the poll, but do we bench Austin Ekeler next week? Like, it's a legitimate question. And then, of course, who I like this week in terms of good matchups, who I don't like, which we did get into the other day, and all that other good stuff. So, hi, Emil. How are you? Good morning, Justin. McKinnon or Noah Brown? I'm going to go McKinnon. Hey, Tony. How are you? Yeah. So, like I said, let's touch base real quick. And if you're new to the channel, guys, as I always say at the beginning of the stream, make sure you hit the subscribe button, become a member if you want, using the join tab on the homepage. Streams are always free, as I always say. That's never going to change. Just to put a bow on the Chargers, the whole, and I did the wrap up video the other day, and obviously it was like beyond ugly. 1 week after getting shut out, the Raiders hang 60 plus points. The Raiders of all teams with Aiden O'Connell at quarterback hang 60 plus on the Chargers, and that was the end of it for Brandon Staley. Like, Dean Spanos, who's not one to just eat contracts, he's got a reputation of being a little bit of a spendthrift. Even he realized like it was over. So Brandon Staley mercifully is out the door. The fantasy football community rejoices. And now Arthur Smith is the next one up on the ledge in terms of, the fantasy football community just wanting to get these guys out, right? And the Falcons losing to the Bucs last week, that was a big deal because it now has Tampa Bay in control of their fate in the awful NFC South. Saints have a big game against the Giants this week that'll further, settle things. But we need Arthur Smith out next. And, I don't like to say it that way because somebody lost their job right before Christmas talking about Brandon Staley. He's a cancer survivor. Being real for a minute. It's, I don't bask in anybody losing their job, whether they deserve it or not. But the fact of the matter is, football wise, this was overdue. Like, it should have happened after the playoff game. Losing in the fashion that they did to the Jaguars. It should have happened. And now what we have is just a completely rudderless ship with no Justin Herbert. Keenan Allen, injured. Does he even bother coming back? Josh Palmer came back, had a big game. So Josh Palmer, at least, in a flex, not even as a wide receiver 3, as a flex, because I don't trust, the quarterback there. And it was just pretty much all garbage time stuff for the offense. What do we do with Austin Ekeler, right? Austin Ekeler now single-digit PPR points 3 of the last 4 games. This is the classic case of a guy who's gone over the cliff, performance-wise. Prior to last season, I noted my concern about the heavy workload Ekeler had in 2021. He bucked the trend, right? He came back and had another monster season in 2022. Age 28 this year, I said the same thing. I'm worried about Austin Ekeler. I'm not drafting him anywhere, and he went ballistic. That last year he went ballistic. This year he goes into the gutter. Like, literally has done virtually nothing this season. He's come back from the high ankle sprain. Doesn't look like the same player. It looks like he's running in quicksand. Single-digit points 3 of the last 4 games. He looks shot like almost overnight. And and somebody trolled me a little bit on here when I had that stream about discussing, revisiting running backs 26 and older and how they're doing this season. And in majority of the cases, they've gone the wrong way. Either they've gotten hurt, like Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, or the performance is down. Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler. Actually, Eckler qualifies for both. He's been hurt and his production is down. But then somebody said, "Oh, I'd like to see you not draft Christian McCaffrey next year." Well, here's the thing. So Christian McCaffrey, MVP, both in real world football and fantasy football, no doubt about it. Having a huge season, just like, is going to be on probably the majority of winning teams this season. He's 27. So he's right up against the number. Next year, McCaffrey's going to be 28. If I would have said to you last year at this time, people would have been like, "You're not going to avoid Austin Eckler. Look at the season Eckler is having at 27. There is no way you're not going to draft him next year." So we have that exact same scenario right now with Christian McCaffrey. A year ago, it was Eckler coming off an MVP fantasy season. Oh, you're definitely drafting him next year. That's McCaffrey this year. And it goes to show you, just like that, in a blink of an eye, a running back can lose it, like Eckler has this season. So a year from now, I'm still not drafting Christian McCaffrey. The trend is the trend. 27 and older, especially when you hit 28, it is a dead zone for running backs. So I will not draft Christian McCaffrey next year. I will take Bijan Robinson over him, especially if there's an offensive coach. All right. It is diminishing means as we go along. So it is the perfect comparison. Eckler last year at this time, you're definitely drafting him next year. Look at the MVP season he's having. Now look at him. He's shit. McCaffrey this year, you're drafting him next year. Nope. All right, $4.99 super chat from Tony 481. Thank you, Tony. If Olave's a no-go, here are my options: Walker, Gibson, Cooper, Deontay Johnson. Who do you like? I do like Amari Cooper. I do like Gibson. So I think Antonio Gibson is in line for a very big day. Brian Robinson's not going to play in this game. I think the workload is going to be there. He's going to get a lot of garbage time, dump offs. If I had to pick, it would be him. I would pick him. And again, guys, the weather is going to be a factor. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Howell or Stafford? Stafford. I think Stafford's going to have an absolutely monster day. The Commanders, if you go back and check over the last 2 months, like, opposing quarterbacks are averaging a little less than 20 fantasy points per game against them. Like, it's just pathetic how bad the defense is. And thank you for that super chat, Tony. I really appreciate that. I need Josh Allen having the game of his life. Yeah, he could. It's one of those classic shootout potential games for sure. I'm going to go over the injury report. We're going to go over the weather. First, I do want to preview today's game. So first up, and they're all on NFL Network today. So first up, and you're welcome, Tony, and thank you for the super chat. So Bengals, Vikings, Jake Browning, yards after the catch, dynamo, right? I mean, it's very fluky what we're seeing from Jake Browning. I don't think this is sustainable. The Vikings defense quietly has been a top 5 unit the entire season. Like, Flores is going to get another job. He's doing a great job with this defense. They're going to Nick Mullins today. Very curious to see what happens with Justin Jefferson. He made it through, thank goodness, last week. I need him for next week when I'm through my buys. And not for nothing. So I have the buy in both of my leagues, but I feel like I almost wish my teams were playing this week, because it just, watching games when you don't have fantasy players in it and you don't have any skin in the game makes it a little bit, less exciting. And like I said to you guys last stream, if you're in a Yahoo league and you have a bye this week, bench everybody. All right, bench them, because if a season injury, God forbid, happens to one of your guys this week while you're on the bye, you could cut them during the game and pick somebody else up. If they're in your lineup, you can't do that. Like, I forgot to do that in one of the 2 leagues, and Eckler is stuck in my lineup. Lockett, Hubbard, Samuel. I'm starting Samuel and probably Hubbard. I think Samuel's going to have a good day too. So yeah, and Ty Chandler is going to go today. He's going to be the guy. No Alexander Madison. Alexander Madison really hasn't been that good. He's been kind of a compiler this year in a PPR league. But Jake Browning, can he lift up Jamar Chase again this week? He didn't do it last week. He did the week before. Really, it's been only one of the 3 games so far that he's lifted up Chase. T. Higgins, meanwhile, is just not, he's nothing more than a flex at this point, which is really, really frustrating. And I don't draft T. Higgins anymore. I didn't this year. I'm tired of him living in the shadow of Jamar Chase. Jalen Waddle to an extent is doing the same thing in Miami. And here's another lesson. Even though there might be two receiver one talents on the same team, you can't draft the second guy, the lesser of the two, if you will, in the second round. Like Jalen Waddle was being drafted in the second round, and he should not have been drafted in the second round last summer. Devontae Smith, same thing. I know he's been hot lately, but now with Goddard back, he's going to cede some of those targets. You start with the third round. So Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, if he's back with the Bengals next year, you start with round 3 drafting them, whereas the other guys are going to round 1. It was a good defense stream. Pittsburgh is good. I think the Rams certainly are good this week as well. Dolphins. Hey, good morning, Rise. Adams and play Thursday. Have Pittman playing today. Yeah, I think you're going to be fine. I think you'd be just fine. Michael Pittman, no matter who they're playing against, is going to get double-digit targets. And Bijan White and Kyler Rice. Yeah, all those guys look good to me. Colts and Steelers, Mitch Trubisky somehow fell into 20 points last week, which is just, completely fluky. I don't think you can play George Pickens because Trubisky doesn't stay in the pocket long enough. He runs at the first hint of trouble, and it's not giving Pickens time to get down the field for those splash plays. So that's the problem there. I would not play Pickens. I would play Deontay. I'm not playing Pat Freiermuth. Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, who knows? It's been bad lately. The whole offense is a mess. Whereas the Colts, you're playing Michael Pittman. No more Josh Downs because he's just, I don't know if he's not healthy, but he's just not putting up the points. Colts D or Rams D? I'm going to go with the Rams. I can't believe I'm asking you to start Mahomes or Howell. You got to go Mahomes still. But yeah, I get it. Mahomes is QB7. QB7 this year, Pat Mahomes. And it just goes to show you, no matter how talented it is, everybody's like, oh, it's Pat Mahomes. It doesn't matter who he's got. And he was drafted really on average first over Allen and Hurts. It shows that even Mahomes, if he doesn't have a strong enough supporting cast, is just not going to put up the numbers. Bears defense really coming on, trying to make the playoffs. Yes, they've been solid for sure. Likely or Goddard? I'm going likely. Chuba or Ty Chandler? The Falcons' rush defense is playing really well. I would have to go Ty Chandler in this one. And then we have Lions, Broncos. I actually think the Broncos are going to upset them. I think the Broncos are going to win this game on the road. Like, the Lions are a mess. 4.5 points is way too high. I don't know what the odds makers were thinking there. The Broncos are playing really well. Really, really well. This is a confident bunch. And will the Vikings D shut down Browning? They could, John. They could. Jared Goff does not have any confidence right now. He's dragging down Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Jahmyr Gibbs today, the Broncos don't stop the run. They're good against the pass. So Amon-Ra may not have another, decent day today. He might struggle again. But I do think that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, to a lesser extent, are going to have a decent day. Bench Tyreek for Montgomery. No, don't do that. I would save Tyreek because you got to play Tyreek if he's out there, and then you could put in Gibson, who I actually think is a strong running back 2 flex this week. I would play him regardless. Warren, McKinnon, Mitchell, Singletary, pick one. I'm gonna probably go McKinnon. Everything's a mess with Pittsburgh right now. Spears or Hollywood? I think you asked me this yesterday. Honestly, I'd have to probably go Spears. I don't like the way Hollywood is playing right now. All right, let's go to the injury report. So we've got a lot of wide receiver question marks. Both Tyreek Hill and Chris Olave did not practice the entire week. So are they going to play? That's the question. I think both will. They both have a tendency of playing, even though they're banged up. Tyreek Hill has the desire, the motivation, that's the word, to get the 2,000 receiving yards. And I think the Dolphins are going to give him every opportunity to get there. It was easy to see, though, after he injured his ankle last week, he was not the same player. And when he was out, Tua Tagovailoa looked like dog shit. And Tua's not having a good season. I know he's staying healthy. He started off hot. September was good, but he really has not been that good since, despite all the fireworks with Tyreek Hill. Do you think Diggs and Zay Jones will have a bounce? I think they'll both be okay. And how about Stephon Diggs? So anybody who owned Diggs last year can remember that he was bad in December and in the fantasy playoffs. Like, him and Devontae Adams were the 2 big-name guys who took nosedives in the playoffs. Like, Adams had single digits in the semis and the finals. Diggs, I believe, did the same as well. And now it's the second season in a row he's struggling. Darius Slay is out, by the way, guys, from Monday. So if you are a DK Metcalf owner, this is good news. All right. And the Eagles, Bradbury and Slay were one of the best duos last year. They've both gotten torched all year. So, cornerbacks too, like running backs, when they start to lose a step, it's over. Now, I'm not saying it's over for both of those guys, but I think they've lost a step and you could see it. Colts defense has been creating turnovers all year. Yes, I do think so. Geno Smith, limited. I think Geno Smith is going to play. I don't think there's any issue there with him. So the players that have been ruled out, Alexander Madison's out. We knew that. Kenny Pickett is out. Jonathan Taylor's out. I think Jonathan Taylor will come back next week. Isaiah Pacheco had shoulder surgery. All right. So, and John, I'm playing Lockett as well, if I were you. So the issue with Isaiah Pacheco, he's now missed two. He's going to miss 2 games. Andy Reid thinks he's going to be back next week. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire only put up 8 fantasy points last week in a PPR format. Jerick McKinnon was used more. McKinnon is the third down back on the goal line. He gets the high value touches. So I think McKinnon is actually the better ad after what we did last week. But I'm hoping Pacheco makes it back because he's one of my key guys and my friends and family. Ramondre Stevenson. So it's been a bust season for Ramondre Stevenson. He's not even in the top 24 in PPR scoring coming into the week. He's going to miss another game. I think Ezekiel Elliott is absolutely in play as a running back too, given what we saw last week, 27 PPR points. You have the Bailey Zappi who likes to throw underneath. So Elliott has a little something left to give for you. No Aaron Rodgers, but here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers was running bootlegs in practice yesterday. He was limited, but he was doing pretty much almost everything in practice. I think this is going to happen on Christmas Eve. I really now am truly thinking it's going to happen. So if you're a Garrett Wilson owner like myself in one league, you might get that Christmas Eve. That might happen for your fantasy football semifinals. Who else is out? So Kendre Miller, lost rookie season for Kendre Miller. Hayden Hurst, Ian Thomas, Elijah Mitchell. So all those guys are out. I have not seen any updates yet on Chris Olave or Tyreek Hill this week. But again, I think they're going to play. And you have to play them. If they're active, you're playing both of them. You have no choice. They're that good. And Olave against the Giants, it's a good matchup. CJ Stroud, concussion, obviously he's not playing. You got to run far away from the Texans. If you want to play Dalton Schultz, he's about the only guy that has any kind of semblance of fantasy value this week. They've lost literally everybody. You're not going to play Noah Brown with Davis Mills at quarterback. Noah Brown is just simply not good enough to think that he'll be able to contribute with a backup quarterback. Any word on JJ? He's good to go. He is good to go today. I'm just going through yesterday's injury report. I do like the Saturday football. I'm not a fan of the Thursday football, but I am good on the Saturday. And I'm sorry it's lagging, John. I apologize. The bits are dropping a little bit, and sometimes that happens in this room that I'm in. So Brandon Cooks will play. It looks like he has an illness. Looks like he's going to be good to go. Taysom Hill will be good to go. No injury designation on Dalton Kincaid. And we have to see, will Dalton Kincaid put up a double-digit PPR game with Dawson Knox in the lineup? Because it's only happened once when those two are together. So we have to see there. No injury designation, Rashid Shaheed or Taysom Hill. Higgins just doesn't do enough for me. I'm sorry, he doesn't. I prefer Waddle over him. Certainly Devonta Smith over both of them. I love it. All right, so that's pretty much that on the injuries. Now let me go to the weather, because the weather, guys, again, second week in a row, we have weather issues. Significant weather issues in the Northeast. We're getting heavy rain, wind, all of that stuff again. And this is something that we need to keep an eye on. All right, so, and remember, wind is always so much worse than heavy rain. All right, so Dallas Cowboys at the Buffalo Bills. 50% chance of rain, gusts to the upper 20s. So listen, it looks like a medium impact for Dallas Buffalo. But listen, it's December in Buffalo. Like, this is what happens. And I say this every year. If you own Josh Allen, know that there is the possibility in the fantasy playoffs you're getting a blizzard and you may have to bench him. Remember, I talked about this many times 2 years ago against New England, Monday Night Football, the blizzard of all blizzards. The wind was whipping. I mean, you guys remember this game, right? And Allen, I believe, only had 11 fantasy points in that one. I toyed about benching him for Taylor Heineke that week. Heineke was with the Commanders that year, and Heineke actually outscored him. So you have that threat. Now, it's not going to be like that for this game, but there's going to be some weather issues there. Jacksonville, Baltimore Ravens at Jacksonville. A lot of rain before the game. It's going to be over before that finishes. Seattle, Philadelphia, 100% chance of rain. So there's going to be a lot of rain in this one, but no winds. All right, very, very light winds. So that's something that, we can live with. And I think DeAndre Swift, if DeAndre Swift doesn't get on track for this game, then I'm out the rest of the way. Now, I don't own him, but I'm just saying, in general, I'm going to be out on him the rest of the way if this is how it's going to be for him. If he can't be playing against Seattle, who's been giving up big chunks all year on the ground. Hockenson today, I'm against Jefferson, Chase, and Mixon. That's tough, man. Hopefully Hockenson can get it going. Usually say drafting Higgins. Yep, Higgins, it just didn't work. And I think I'm out on these receivers that are number twos on their own team. Ezekiel Elliott and Sutton. I would go Elliott. I'm going to go Elliott. I think the workload, he's going to get more touches than Sutton between receiving and running the ball. And that's how you break the tie when you're debating who's getting more touches. Elliott, by getting more touches, has then more chances to score as opposed to Sutton. And Elliott can create on his touches. Sutton can't. He's at the mercy of Wilson getting him the ball. Zamir White, I did tell everybody to play him, and it worked. It turned out to be a good thing there because he had a decent game. You're welcome, L. All right, so nothing in Tampa, Green Bay. That looks good. Nothing Houston, Tennessee. Chiefs, New England. 49 degrees, 7-mile-per-hour winds, 55% chance of rain. So there is a chance of rain. I know New England Monday is supposed to get hammered, so Sunday looks like it's okay. The Buffalo game, 55% chance of rain and moderate winds. So that's looking like that might be one of the worst, other than the Seattle game, where there's pretty much 100% chance of rain. All right, now let's get to the severe weather. I didn't even get to the severe weather yet. Chicago Bears at Cleveland. All right, 47 degrees, 20-mile-an-hour winds, 80% chance of rain. All right. The winds are high enough where I'm a little bit concerned. You're still playing Justin Fields because he could run all over the place. And as far as Cleveland, I think Joe Flacco's a borderline call in those conditions. 90% chance of rain, 20-mile-an-hour winds, stout Bears defensively. I think Joe Flacco is iffy. I think David Njoku, you play. I think Amari Cooper now is iffy in that environment. DJ Moore, you're still going to play. But I think we need to be concerned about that. New York Jets, Miami. 66% chance of rain, 17-mile-an-hour winds. It looks like it's going to be 80 degrees for that game. And that's an interesting dynamic. Is there going to be cramping issues, believe it or not, in this game? Like 80% chance of rain. 80 degrees with humidity. In December, that's something we have to think about. Who will you be in 24 draft? I haven't thought about it yet, but listen, I'm not big on the running backs. You all know that. I'm not big on those running backs in the first round, maybe even the second. It's going to be all receivers again. I got the buy in both of my leagues, and I have a first place and a second place finish. All right, in both my leagues by going receivers early. My work league, Amon-Ra in round 1, and then A.J. Brown round 2. And then I got Josh Allen in round 3. It was like the best first 3 rounds I think I've had in a really long time. All 3 of those guys hit. In my friends and family league, I took Justin Jefferson first round. That hasn't worked because of the injuries. And I've traded for CeeDee Lamb during the course of the year. I did take Jalen Hurts in round 3. That has worked out, right? Even though I've traded him since in a deal for Garrett Wilson and Lamar Jackson. So I took, did I take Garrett Wilson? I think I took Garrett Wilson round 2. Yeah, I did take Garrett Wilson round 2. It was the end of round 2 because I had Jefferson with the number 2 pick. So my friends and family, my first 2 picks really didn't pan out. I mean, Garrett Wilson's been solid, like really, solid low end too. But we expected him to be a 1 because we expected Aaron Rodgers to be healthy. Atlanta, Carolina, downpours, 90% chance of rain, 52 degrees, 50-mile-an-hour winds, 15, not 50. So, again, that's another rain game that we have to concern ourselves with. Do not play Adam Thielen in this one. If you want to play Chuba Hubbard, I guess that would be okay. Obviously, playing Bijan Robinson, Drake London. So the one thing the Panthers do well is they stop the pass. They've been good against the pass. And again, part of that is teams don't need to throw against them in the second half of games because they're destroying them. But, maybe you want to sit Drake London in this one. And Drake London needs a coaching change. He needs it more than anyone else. Gamecast live stream for the Bengals. Yeah, I haven't done Gamecast this year, and I apologize for that. I've done more streams during the week this year than I did last year. But the Gamecasts during the week, I haven't been able to do that as much. But that's a good idea, M. John. I will definitely consider doing that today, maybe for one of these games today. All right, I'll see if I can. Christmas is next week. There's a lot going on, as you all know. So. But that's a good idea. I do like that idea. And I love the fact that we have Christmas Eve football, Christmas Day football. I've never been in on this NBA Christmas nonsense. Like, it just doesn't, no, I'm not, that's never caught my interest at all, to be honest with you. Yeah, so guys, this should be a fun day today. And again, any injuries, I will be doing these. I'm sure I'll be doing videos today. I'm sure somebody's going to get hurt. And I know for me, geez, I got 2 teams on buys. I just got to get these guys through this game without injuries. And, always looking ahead, you don't want to see injuries impact fantasy football playoffs. Like, it sucks. I mean, the people who, I won my friends and family league last year because of what happened with the T. Higgins, DeMar Hamlin situation. We were never able to, finish that game, and who knows what would have happened. But, hopefully we get, nobody gets hurt. We have some good games today, and we'll go from there. So guys, hit that subscribe button. Make sure become a member if you're interested, becoming a member of the channel, because you get a free draft guide, you pick whichever one you want, prospect draft guide, NFL draft guide, fantasy football draft guide, whichever one you want. I believe that's the gold membership. So check out the different membership levels we have. Streams are always free. That's never going to change. You get some additional perks as well. So yeah, that's it. So enjoy the games again today, guys. And like I said, I'll be on throughout the rest of the day. Anytime injuries happen or any kind of newsworthy items. And then tomorrow, 11:30 in the morning as well. So take care, guys. Have a great day. Enjoy the football.